Good day. This is the Philip Koerper Show. I am Philip Koerper. This is episode 59, October 29th, 2018. We've got a great show for you guys today. I want to lead off with this Fox News article. Trump to visit Pittsburgh after synagogue attack. Sanders challenges criticism of president's tone. It truly is amazing how confrontational the press is to Sarah Sanders. I mean, in your face, constant barrage of negative attacks. Of course, the press is free to do this, but the tone is so frustrating and they are just all over her. Now, she said that tomorrow the president and first lady will travel to Pennsylvania to express the support of the American people and grieve with the Pittsburgh community. She said that she did not specifically detail where Trump will visit. In a heated exchange with reporters, Sanders then pushed back on the argument the president's rhetoric could have influenced the synagogue shooter, as well as the person who sent numerous pipe bombs in the mail to prominent Democrat figures. She called the suggestion outrageous. Quote, the president is not responsible for these acts. Again, the very first action of the president did was condemn these heinous acts. The very first thing the media did was condemn the president and go after and try to place blame not just on the president, but everybody that works in this administration. This is so absolutely true. I mean, it's incredible. The attacks. They are blaming Donald Trump for everything. If the weather is bad, they're going to blame him. They are blaming him for everything. So the fake pipe bomb guy, it looked like he was picking on some Democrats. I mean, really, what does that have to do with Donald Trump? And then this guy, this shooter who killed people in the Jewish synagogue, he hated Donald Trump, okay? That guy hated him on public media. So it's this really frustrating about this. Sarah Sanders points out that Ivanka Trump and Jared, they're Jewish, okay? Jared is a descendant of Holocaust victims. Their children are Jewish. Donald has Jewish grandchildren. It was amazing today. I just happened to listen to NPR just for a moment, and it was complete rubbish. Just turning it on. I mean, 2 to 3 minutes of complete rubbish. Some guy talking about how the Donald is a white supremacist, that he hates the Jews. I mean, this is just the most preposterous thing. And the reason why he hates the Jews is just his rhetoric is so bad. I mean, this is just amazing. The Donald has gone to the wall. The Donald has moved the capital of Jerusalem down to Jerusalem, capital of Israel to Jerusalem. He's moved our embassy down there. That Obama said he was going to do that, never did it. W said he was going to do that, never did it. I mean, just Donald has been amazing to the Jewish state and really cemented our relationships. Remember, Obama was fighting with Netanyahu all the time? I mean, good grief. And so this is just preposterous. It's ironic that this guy, the shooter, was using Gab, Gab, as a social media thing. Well, now they're going to just shut that thing down. Okay, so it's another place where there's free speech. Oh, shutting it down. There is so much book burning going on the internet right now. Freedom of speech is just dying. Freedom of expression is dying. Okay, the liberals don't want it. They don't even want the media to cover Donald's rallies anymore. Oh no, they don't like that. Okay, they're afraid of his rallies. They don't want us to see how many people are there. Remember, they made a big deal about the attendance at the inauguration. Oh, they made a big deal about that. The Donald was saying, oh, it's huge, the biggest ever. And they freaked out over that. Well, now that's coming back to really bite them because these rallies that Donald's having are incredibly packed. The rallies that Joe Biden's at, or if you can't even call them rallies, or Barry Obama, there's like nobody there. Okay, not much enthusiasm apparently on the Democrat side. So it's amazing. CNN had this story. Headline is 72 hours in America. 3 hate-filled crimes, 3 hate-filled suspects. Okay, all they're talking about hate, and then they're just making the link to Donald. Oh, he's so full of hate. His rhetoric is terrible. I mean, this is ridiculous. And so if you look at another CNN story, I don't like to click on CNN. I really don't want to give them any clicks. But this is a July 11th, 2016 story. Now, remember the Dallas police shooter? That guy who shot up those police officers? The guy, Black Lives Matter guy from St. Louis? Oh, man, killed 5 police officers and wounded 7 others. Oh, yeah, this guy. I don't like to use their names. He was blown up by the bomb-carrying robot. That was a little controversial. Blew him up. And so if you search this article, do you find the word hate? Was he filled with hate? He was killing all of these police officers? Oh, it's not mentioned. Oh, it's not mentioned. It's not mentioned, that Black Lives Matters radicalized this guy. Barry Obama was yelling and screaming about the police and telling everyone how bad they were. And then this guy shoots him up. Do we blame Barry Obama for this shooting? And then Barry was like saying, oh, it's a lone wolf, no big deal. Then the Dallas police chief was like, dude, I don't feel any support coming from DC. And that's when Barry immediately flew down there to try to fix things up. Oh my. No, are we talking about hate? No. The media is so one-sided, incredibly one-sided. So they never blamed Barry Obama for going after police officers, criticizing them, telling us that they're all racist, okay, although there's no evidence of that. And the Black Lives Matters gets really revved up, okay, lots of heated rhetoric, hate speech maybe, well, they didn't call it that. And then this guy in St. Louis gets radicalized, goes down to Dallas and shoots up these police officers. And then there's more police killings in New York. Remember that? That was awful in 2016. So no, CNN's going to talk about, they're going to link everything to Donald. They're going to blame him. They're going to say his rhetoric, his hatred, which whatever. I just really think this is computer lies. So this never gets good enough. It looks like Hillary, she's waffling now. It looks like she might run in 2020. She hasn't ruled it out, and she said she would like to be president. Oh boy. I bet you the Democrats right now are quaking in their boots. Oh, a third run for HRC? Oh, wouldn't that be great if she ran again? Oh my heavens, the poor Democrats. Oh, I actually feel a little bit sorry for them. I mean, she is the anointed one. She will not go away. This is a really funny article from Fox News, and towards the end, it talks about Philip Koerper. He's a longtime Clinton aide. He said he would not rule out another presidential run for Clinton, though he came close. It's somewhere between highly unlikely and zero, Raines told Politico earlier this month. But it's not zero. Speaking with Fox News, he said, everyone loves a comeback. He also compared the likelihood of running again to someone's chances of winning the lottery. I'm not saying she's going to run, Raines said. I think the odds are probably in the Powerball range. And then the ending quote is the funniest of all. A spokesman for Biden told Fox News that he had no comment on a possible Clinton run. Oh my. A friend told me about this incredible story. This is from the Daily Mail. I don't know if you guys remember, but when was this? But this was an apartment complex, a big one in Great Britain, burned, and many people were killed. It was just a huge tragedy. It was this awful, this huge apartment complex just burned up. Some people blame the siding or, whatever. I mean, it was just really poor construction, and it was called the Grenville Tower. Well, this is a fascinating story. So in Great Britain, you don't call 911, you call 999. And this lady was a physician, Dr. Naomi Chaya Yan Lee. And when she smelled smoke, she Googled how to escape a fire from the 22nd flight. She Googled that to try to figure out how to get out of the building. When she called 999, the emergency operator told her to stay inside and to pass the message on to her neighbors. Okay, well, she didn't trust that. So, and this was 3 o'clock in the morning. And so what she did is she Googled how to get out of a burning building. And so the people, her 11 neighbors who sheltered in place, they all died. And then this is what Dr. Ali said. Most of the time we were just sitting together where we're not even talking that much. I was just messaging Lee, Dr. Lee's husband, and trying to Google how to escape from a fire in a tall building. I was looking at Mandarin websites. It basically said stay indoors, but if you must, run downstairs. Don't run upstairs. I was just trying to make sure we were doing the right thing. I was assuming the fire service would put out the fire and then someone could come and tell us what to do. I didn't think they would need to save us, more that they would put out the fire and then come tell us whether we had to leave the building or not. Dr. Lee had taken refuge in flat 193 where the Koerper family lives, as it still had fresh air. They were later joined by the Koerper family. Earlier, some of the Koerpers had attempted to leave, but were forced back into the building. An operator said there was no fire in the stairwell, only smoke to get out immediately. She and her cousin relayed this to the other families, but they did not respond. She continued, they were so panicked they couldn't listen to what they were saying, and I didn't really know what to do or say. I was not convinced we could survive the walk down the stairs. At that point, I was not sure. Maybe the helicopter could come and save everyone. We tried to say they told us to leave, but they weren't listening. The pair wrapped themselves in wet towels and felt their way down the stairs through the smoke, stumbling over bodies. When they reached the bottom at around 3:21 a.m., they told fire crews there were still more than 10 people trapped in the flat. Miss Lee survived. Her neighbors who stayed, and they're all listed here, they all died. So did the other families sheltering in the flat. They all died. A total of 72 people perished as a result of the blaze in the West London block on June 14th. It's just a horrific story. And it looks like the internet provided helpful information that saved her life. On a different note, remember we were talking about Megyn Kelly and her comment about Halloween and blackfaces. And so this is a story from my alma mater, Brigham Young University. And this student may face discipline for a costume party. So officials with Brigham Young University in Provo are investigating after a communication student allegedly showed up at a costume party wearing blackface. The BYU newspaper, the Daily Universe, reported that the student wearing blackface as part of a football player costume took part in a Halloween contest. Students at the event complained to the school director, the newspaper said, and the word of the incident spread among students. You know, I had friends who did this when I was at BYU. We dressed up as if for Halloween, different outfits. This is really, truly amazing. This political correctness, I think, has just really gone amok, that we can't even dress up as other people in Halloween, that we're going to be accused of being racist or insensitive I mean, I was saw one of my friends who dressed up as Johnny Depp's character, Tonto, in The Lone Ranger. You know, who knows? Maybe people would be offended by that. I don't know. Lots of people are being offended. It's a shame. And speaking of offense, there's more video. There's another group of a complete lawless mob trying to break through the gates between Guatemala and Mexico. And they're trying to break through the border gate of Mexico. And they did. And they're throwing rocks, cussing at the guards. The guards are asking them for passports. They won't show them. Then they smash through the gate, throwing rocks. One of the people was killed, I guess, by rubber bullets. I mean, this is complete anarchy. It's a mob, lawlessness. Anyone who's supporting this, where are the Democrats condemning this? I mean, this is just crazy. These people can stay in Mexico. Mexico is offering them everything. They're offering them jobs, health care, paperwork, immigration paperwork. Okay, so this asylum claim is just false. Okay, so I mean, just not getting in line, trying to just bully their way, bash their way like anarchists or Bolsheviks, trying to blast their way through Mexico in the United States. I mean, good grief. I am so glad that the Donald is standing firm on this. Okay, we can't let these people just blast their way into the United States. This is really outrageous. And I wish all of our politicians would really kind of condemn this behavior because it is outrageous. And the closing story that I wanted to talk about today is this NBC is now being accused that they're admitting to sitting on information that would undermine Brett Kavanaugh's accusers. This is a Daily Wire piece. In yet another stunning display of media bias, NBC now acknowledges that it had information that undermined the credibility of some of the women who accused then Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault, but didn't report it at the time. On Thursday, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley referred celebrity lawyer Michael Avenatti and his client Julie Swetnick to the Justice Department. Swetnick, in a sworn statement, accused Kavanaugh of drinking too much, acting aggressive, gang raping, all that stuff. NBC was the worst offender. The network interviewed Swetnick, even though it said up front it couldn't verify her claims. This is journalism malpractice 101. You don't put out possible defamatory information you can't verify. Of course, the media was totally okay with doing this if it meant keeping Kavanaugh off the Supreme Court. They didn't care about the consequences to his family or reputation. So, at the time, Swetnick backtracked on her key claims regarding Kavanaugh and undermined her own story. Once her story crumbled, Avenatti released a second sworn statement from an unnamed woman alleging almost identical claims as Swetnick. That was on October 3rd, 2 days after Swetnick was interviewed by NBC, but 3 days before Kavanaugh would be confirmed. NBC says it spoke to this woman 2 days before Avenatti released her statement and didn't seem to find her credible. The outlet said the woman told NBC a different story than what was presented in the affidavit. Unbelievable. Okay, so this story goes on, but once again, this is the kind of media bias. This is the fake news that Donald is talking about. This is the enemy of the state. Okay, this is the enemy of the state. NBC here is acknowledging that it is the enemy of the state. What are they doing? This is fake news, okay? They were not publishing the truth. They were publishing unsubstantiated lies about Brett Kavanaugh, but they didn't care because the ends justify the means. Incredibly frustrating. Yeah, so there we go. And good. The Donald today is doubling down on the enemy of the state. Good for him. Good for him. He needs to call this media out. I love it that he's not PC and he's going to call them out. We need a focus. You know, it's like a magnifying glass, and you're burning ants with the sun. I mean, we need to use this magnifying glass to focus this attention on the media. Okay, they need to clean up their act and start trying to behave a little bit more neutral and try to get to the bottom of the truth and not just to support their own agenda. Hear, hear. Yes, sirrino. I want to close on this wonderful quote from Abraham Lincoln. Most people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. I was thinking of that when the NPR guy was going on and on about how awful Donald Trump is. And I was just thinking to myself, oh, I'm so glad Americans saw through this and we elected him president of the United States. He is the head of state. We win and they lose. I am so glad that the Donald's leading this country. What a change from Barry Obama, from all that political correctness. Oh, that nonsense. This is just so much better. So very grateful for this country. Very proud of Donald Trump. I think he's doing a great job. Looking forward to these midterm elections. I hope the people vote Republican. And I hope that we hold on to the House and the Senate. That would be just amazing if we could do that. That would be great to hold on to the House. Well, thank you so much for listening. I'm Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show, copyright 2018. You guys have a great day.